Like and subscribe to Great Living Stories on YouTube and Rumble for stories of faith, endurance, and hope. The AI-narrated stories, at least for now, range from post-apocalyptic scenarios, return to life, to sleeper cell terrorist attacks, Texas border trouble, and eventually other survival scenarios as epic fiction. Discourse topics range from readiness survival topics to spiritual topics. We pray you will join us and enjoy some time with our stories.
So far, this discourse has presented a couple aspects in regards to where the spiritual realm is located. It is quite literally above the earth and within the earth. However, there are two seemingly different points of view in regards to the number of heavens there are. Which one is correct? Quite honestly, I believe they both describe the same heavens, albeit from slightly different points of view, and one in much more detail than the other. Both the traditional view of the heavens and Enoch's view appear to agree on the third heaven. The third heaven and Enoch's 10th heaven describe pretty much the same thing, including what is found inside of them. This is the heaven of heavens. This is the place where God's throne is located. Understanding God is infinite and is not contained in a box of any kind. However, it does illustrate that God is above everyone and everything. Psalm 97-9, NKJV, "For you, Lord, are most high above all the earth. You are exalted far above all gods." Ephesians 4-6, NKJV, "One God and Father of all, who is above all and through all and in you all." Both of the first heavens contains the clouds, etc. So these are pretty similar as well. The 8th heaven contains the summer and winter, as well as the drought and snow, seeming to indicate the elements of weather contained within this heaven. This too would seem to align with the traditional view of the heavens. These seem to cover the physical aspects of the heavens. It is likely both of these perspectives are correct. It is my opinion that Enoch's heavenly view is a bit more detailed than the traditional view of heaven. I believe there is another aspect to consider while envisioning our view of heaven, a view that is often overlooked or perhaps even avoided altogether. This is the extra-dimensional aspect, referring to the unseen aspects of the heavens. I will not get into this in much detail in this discourse, as I am working on another discourse pertaining to extraterrestrial beings. I am not convinced that these beings are what we are being led to believe they are. I believe these so-called extraterrestrial beings are in fact demons, and they materialize as if they came from another planet, when in reality they come from another realm. It is enough for this discourse to focus on establishing the facts with regards to the spiritual realm. This brings us to our next question. Are we able to see this spiritual realm? Can we see the spiritual realm? The spiritual realm is largely unseen by mere humans. As was discussed earlier in this discourse, it would seem that Elisha was able to see into the spiritual realm as he was able to see the horses and chariots of fire on the mountains, which he was then able to reveal to his servant through prayer. This would imply that some humans are able to see into the spiritual realm, but it would seem this is a case-by-case ability. It also may be reserved for special individuals. Elisha was the successor to Elijah, who was also an exceptional prophet. Elijah was the second human that left the earth without dying as well. With that being said, there does appear to be some instances where humans may have been granted the ability to see into the spiritual realm. There are stories of believers in near-death experiences that have seen angels tending to them. However, none of these instances can truly be verified. We do have spiritual eyes, and we can ask God to open them as he did for Elisha's servant. However, I would caution about seeking this ability out too much. It could lead to distractions that could impact your spiritual vision and perhaps your spiritual walk. It could also lead you on a path you might not want to travel. Just use caution if you traverse this journey and remain grounded in the Lord. The Bible warns about seeking out mediums or spiritists. Give no regard to mediums and familiar spirits. Do not seek after them, to be defiled by them. I am the Lord your God. Leviticus 19:3-1 NKJV. These individuals claim to be able to contact departed loved ones, family members, etc. But in all likelihood, they are really contacting demons or evil spirits. Biblically speaking, we are unable to contact those who are deceased. Those who have died are in an unconscious state. death is often referred to as being asleep. In Ecclesiastes 9:10, the Bible states, "Whatever your hand finds to do, do it with your might, for there is no work or device or knowledge or wisdom where you are going." In Luke 16, a rich man died and a beggar Lazarus died. Lazarus was in Abraham's bosom, while the rich man went to Hades, aka hell. Seeing Lazarus, the rich man asked Father Abraham to send Lazarus with cool water on his finger to cool his tongue. Abraham answered the rich man and said, "And besides all this, between us and you there is a great gulf fixed, so that those who want to pass from here to you cannot, nor can those from there pass to us." So whoever or whatever these mediums are talking to, it is very unlikely to be anyone we really want to talk with. Words of warning: tread cautiously when dealing with the spiritual realm. You must remain grounded with our Lord, or you risk losing your soul. So who or what is found in this spiritual realm? Follow-up questions and answers. Are there spiritual beings in this spirit realm? Are there spiritual beings in this spirit realm? The short answer to this question is absolutely yes. I am pretty certain at this point this question may be one of mute importance. As has been discussed so far, within this discourse, we have seen quite a bit of evidence that indicates there is a spiritual realm, and it is pretty well populated. The spiritual realm contains quite a passel of folks. The beings in the spiritual realm include God, Akka, Yahweh, etc. Psalm 82, Divine Counsel, Psalm 82, Angels, Martyrs, Saints, Revelation 6, 7, Note, angels appear in most of the book of Revelation. Living creatures, Revelation 6, Phoenixes, Chalkydry, and armed soldiers, 2 Enoch. Grigori, gigantic human soldiers, aka watchers, 2 Enoch. Phoenixes, cherubim, seraphim, 6, heaven, 2 Enoch. Loyal soldiers of the Lord, 2 Enoch. Archangels, 2 Enoch. Virtues, forces, 2 Enoch. Dominions, 2 Enoch. Powers, 2 Enoch. Ephesians 6+. Order, 2 Enoch. Principalities, governments, 2 Enoch. Ephesians 6. Otherworldly, cherubim, seraphim, 2 Enoch. Celestial beings with many eyes, 2 Enoch. 9 regiments, 2 Enoch. Ioanic stations of light, 2 Enoch. God's throne, his council of angels and saints, 2 Enoch. Demons, Mark 8, Fia Orda Div. Satan, devil, aka the ruler of this world, 1 Peter 5-8. Ephesians 6. Fallen angels, 2 Peter 2-4, those not imprisoned. Revelation 12-3-4. Powers of darkness, Ephesians 6. Rulers of darkness, Ephesians 6. Authorities, Ephesians 6. Spiritual forces of evil, spiritual hosts of wickedness, Ephesians 6. Impure spirits, Luke 4:36. False gods and goddesses, Exodus 15:11. Deuteronomy 11:16, 32-17. Reneged sons of God, Genesis 6:2-4. Based on just the evidence above, and there is more, it is a safe conclusion that the spiritual realm exists and is very well populated. Alright, so we have confirmed there is a spiritual realm, where it is located, and that it is pretty well populated. So where did all these beings come from? Where did they come from? God created every living being on earth and in the spiritual realm. God's family, created by him, includes all of the angels and humans. Animals are considered living beings, but not necessarily in the same manner as humans. Fallen angels are angels also created by God. However, they have turned away from God and his plan, making them disinherited, if you will. Our God is referenced by many different names: Yahweh, Elohim, El Shaddai, and Adonai. However, unlike other beings, God is not restricted to any specific location. One God and Father of all, who is above all and through all and in you all. Ephesians 4-6 NKJV. Colossians 1:16 says, "For in him all things were created, things in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or powers or rulers or authorities. All things have been created through him and for him." There is only one true God. Paul in 1 Timothy 2-5 JV says, "For there is one God and one mediator between God and men, the man Christ Jesus." In James 2:19 JV we read, "You believe that there is one God. You do well. Even the demons believe and tremble. God is God, I am." That being said, there are entities that exist that are not considered living beings, that are found in the spiritual realm as well as on earth. Fallen angels are angels that have rebelled against God. To clarify, there are at least two groups of angels that are referred to as fallen angels. One group is the group of angels that sided with Lucifer, Revelation 12:3-4, and were expelled from heaven with Satan. Note, Lucifer and Satan are the same entity. Before the fall, he was referred to as Lucifer. After the fall, he is referred to as Satan, but it is the same being. A second group of fallen angels, also referred to as the Watchers. These angels in effect deserted their post in heaven to take wives of the daughters of man, creating giants or mighty beings, also known as Nephilim. One other item that needs to be mentioned here is these fallen angels taught their offspring and humans many heavenly secrets that should not have been taught. This includes genetic modification, that is to say, gene manipulation, the occult, and other knowledge that should have not been passed on to humans, primarily because they were not ready to handle that kind of knowledge. Another group that resides in the spiritual realm is demons. There is some debate as to what or how exactly demons, also known as evil spirits, also in a more cryptic manner as prince, came into being. Demons are entities that possess extraordinary power and are not subject to space, time, physical laws as humans are. This is where we get into the extraterrestrial aspects of these spiritual beings. Some religious experts claim demons were angels that followed Lucifer after the fall of Satan, and then after their fall, they became demons. Still others present a case that demons are the disembodied spirits of the offspring between the Watchers, fallen angels, and the daughters of man. Personally, I believe they all may be correct. I don't think demons come from just one source. In my opinion, at this stage of the game, I don't think it really matters where they came from. The fact remains, there are beings known as demons, and their intentions are not honorable or healthy for humans. Can we see them? We will not dwell on this question much, as I believe we have already answered this question pretty thoroughly. It is possible for us to see into the spiritual realm on occasion. We will discuss this a bit more in the next section, perhaps even more so than in this section. In Genesis 19, Lot was able to see the two angels that were sent to save him. So this is one example of a human being able to see angels. When Jesus was born, an angel appeared to the two shepherds, telling them of Jesus' birth. Do 10, the same is true for John the Baptist. His father, Zechariah, saw the angel Gabriel, who informed him that Zechariah's wife would soon be with child. Gabriel told him to name him John, and because Zechariah did not immediately believe this would happen, he was unable to speak until after John's birth, and he was circumcised. So that is a pretty interesting interaction. Jesus was buried and in a tomb when an angel removed the stone from the tomb and speaks to Mary Magdalene. Matthew 28:2-3. After his death and resurrection, Jesus appeared to his disciples and a number of the folks after he rose from the grave. I'm not exactly sure of the total number of people that saw Jesus, but it is over 500. These are a few examples where humans actually physically saw angels and Jesus. It appears that we humans are able to see spiritual beings. Can these spiritual beings interact with humans? The evidence already presented in this discourse demonstrates that spiritual beings and humans can and do interact with each other. Some additional examples are listed below. In its definition of spirit world, Wikipedia states, although independent from one another, both the spirit world and the physical world are in constant interaction. Through seances, trances, and other forms of mediumship, these worlds can consciously communicate with each other. These are only a few methods in which there is interaction between humans and the spiritual realm. Dabbling in seances, trances, transcendental meditations, mediums, etc., can lead people, including Christians, astray. It may seem okay or non-threatening or even cute, but all of these rituals are steeped in religions that lead away from God. Anything that leads us away from God can lead us toward evil actions or desires. In other words, towards Satan. Additional evidence of spiritual beings interacting with the spirit world involves Jacob. In Genesis 32-24, 2:8, NKJV, it tells the story of Jacob wrestling with an angel. Then Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until the break of day. Now, when he saw that he did not prevail against him, he touched the socket of his hip, and the socket of Jacob's hip was out of joint as he wrestled with him. And he said, "Let me go, for the day breaks." But he said, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." So he said to him, "What is your name?" He said, "Jacob." And he said, "Your name shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel, for you have struggled with God and with men and have prevailed." Here we see Jacob interacting with an angel from the spiritual realm here on earth, a curious event to say the least. The Bible tells us to be kind to others as we could entertain angels unaware, Hebrews 13:2, NKJV. Do not forget to entertain strangers, for by so doing, some have unwittingly entertained angels. This would seem to mean there are those around us that are angels, or at least could be angels. We know that Lot recognized the angels when they came into the town of Sodom, Genesis 19:1-2. Another event where angels are seen by men of earth is in Daniel. Daniel tells a story in which he is mourning and fasting because of his concern for the Israel people. Daniel was praying to turn away God's wrath on Israel because of their sins against God. After 3 weeks, Daniel was beside the Tigris River and he encountered a man from the spiritual realm. Daniel 10:5. I lifted my eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose waist was girded with gold of Uphaz. His body was like beryl, his face like the appearance of lightning, his eyes like torches of fire, his arms and feet like burnished bronze in color, and the sound of his words like the voice of a multitude. It is said the reason this angel was late in meeting with Daniel was due to him having to battle with an evil angel, specially anointed with Persian power, in order to obstruct God's work. Not only did the angel get delayed by this evil Persian angel, it required Archangel Michael to intervene on Daniel's angel behalf so the other angel could make his meeting with Daniel. Once the angel's meeting with Daniel is over, the same angel had to return to his battle with the evil Persian angel. After that battle, he was going to have to battle with the evil prince of Greece. Another spiritual realm encounter is when Jesus encountered Legion after crossing to the country of Gadarenes. As soon as Jesus left the boat, there was a man with what is called an unclean spirit. The man ran up to Jesus and worshipped him. The unclean spirit knew who Jesus was saying. "What I to do with you, Jesus, so of the Most High God? I implore, you do not torment me." Jesus asked the man his name, then asked, "What is your name?" And he answered, saying, "My name is Legion, for we are many." Mark 5-7, 9, NKJV. Jesus and his disciples saw this man with the many demons. The demons were sent into a herd of swine that then ran into the sea and drowned. There are many more examples of demons possessing humans. I believe this would constitute an interaction with humans. The Think Institute states the better we understand what the spiritual realm is, the better we will be able to comprehend God's will, as well as the dangers we face as we navigate our lives. The implication here is that spiritual beings and humans can interact, and some of these actions in the spiritual realm can and do influence our actions on earth. So it appears it is possible to see spiritual beings. However, it is not a good idea to go seeking them out. There are some things that are best left alone. The reason for this will be found in the answer to the next question.
Please join us again tomorrow for more stories. Follow us at Great Living Stories on YouTube or Rumble. Please like and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. This also helps the channel grow. If you are interested in become a part of the Great Living Stories family and would like to support our storytelling efforts, please consider a donation. This will enable us to provide better stories and videos. Donations can be made via PayPal at the link listed.